everyone. I'm Augusta Myers, the Communications Manager with the Mid-Region Council of Governments. And we're here today. I'm actually joined by three lovely women who are here today with me to talk about an event that recently took place in Albuquerque that is very cool and definitely worth talking about. So let me introduce you to who is with me today and who's joining me. And first we have Tatiana Falcon Rodriguez. She is the Community Health Manager at Presbyterian Center for Community Health. She is also the co-lead of the event that we're going to be telling you about, as well as Bernadette Hardy, who is the co-coordinator of the International District Healthy Communities Coalition, and she is the planning co-lead of the event, and also Valerie Hermanson, who is a transportation planner with the Mid-Region Council of Governments. She's on the planning team for this event. So let's say what this event is, finally. We're talking about ABQ Ciqlovia, and it's something that's been going on for 4 years. Valerie, you were in on the very beginning when it was when the Mid-Region Council of Governments was overseeing it. Tell us, what is Ciqlovia and when did it begin in Albuquerque more specifically?
Great question. So thanks for having us here today.
Sure.
We're excited to talk about this event. So the event began back in 2014. And what is ABQ Ciqlovia? So it's the local version of a global phenomenon known as Ciqlovias, or Open Streets event. They started in Colombia, and the idea is roads are temporarily closed to cars and opened up to people to walk, ride, play, roll, and reimagine our largest public space, which are streets.
Wow, that's cool. And like you said, it's open to walk, ride, and play, just like the logo says.
Correct.
And they actually close off the streets for a period of time so people can kind of get to know the area a little better on foot or on their bike.
Exactly. Yeah, it's an opportunity to, kind of take back the streets. There used to be a time when kids would play in the streets.
Right.
Our built environments changed a little bit. Now everything's very auto-oriented. So it's an opportunity to play. Really, it's a Sunday of fun in the streets, and an opportunity to reimagine what our roadways could look like. So we do a lot of demonstration projects like pop-up protected bike lanes. There's art, there's yoga, but it's also about health. And people often don't meet the 30 minutes requirement of health every day. So it's also an opportunity to have fun and get the health benefit.
Almost an opportunity to enjoy some healthy practices without realizing you're getting exercise because you're enjoying it.
Exactly.
So Bernadette and Tatiana, tell me, who was involved in coordinating this event, and how long did it take to plan?
Well, there were several organizations that were part of coordinating Ciqlovia. So, we really truly talk about the fact that Ciqlovia was a collaborative effort. And I think without having that collaborative effort, it would have been impossible. And we had the Healthy Here initiative that kind of took on a lot of the coordination role of it.
Now you say Healthy Here, and that's Healthy, H-E-R-E, Here initiative.
Here.
Okay.
Yeah, and Healthy Here is a collective of organizations that really look at specifically environments, systems, and policies that really affect the ways in which people approach physical activity, eating healthy, and really linking community and clinical, like providers with the community, for example.
Trying to get a total picture on it.
Yeah, and then part of that coalition is Presbyterian Center for Community Health is a part of it, International District Healthy Communities Coalition, and Mid-Region Council of Governments. So we all were already working in different ways. Presbyterian supports a lot of work that is happening already. And that's kind of how it started, the conversation of what it could be, I guess, when it comes to Ciqlovia.
Yeah, that's interesting. And this year it was different from the
Correct.
2017 event, because typically it's been held, I think, the first 3 years downtown.
Yes.
And the transition from downtown to the International District, actually, as I understand it, was a good fit.
Definitely. Unfortunately, Albuquerque and New Mexico face very challenging statistics related to pedestrian and bicyclist fatalities and serious injuries. And unfortunately, there's a disproportionate impact on that neighborhood. And events like this can really highlight those issues and also encourage people to get out and know their neighbors. So the work of Healthy Here, they're already working in the International District and the South Valley. So it was a natural slide over into that neighborhood.
And what were some of the outcomes from this? Bernadette, maybe you want to speak on that.
With Ciqlovia, there were nothing but good outcomes. We've been wanting to have an event like this for a very long time in our neighborhood. A lot of the community members were asking, we need places for our kids to play. Why aren't our streets more safe? A few years before, we did a community dance in the winter, and we did, with help of Healthy Here in Presbyterian, we also did Earth Day event. And when Valerie and Mark Hogg came to us about having Ciqlovia, we were like, I was unsure, but Tatiana jumped on it, and she said, we can do this. You guys are going to do it. And I'm like, okay. So we've never had anything such a big event, and especially IDHCC coordinating with the help of Tatiana to do something like this. And we were just, okay, let's do it. And we were super excited. But I know all the feedback from the neighborhood was amazing, and they just want more.
That's great. Well, the video tells a great story too, and what a beautiful day to have it. It was October, I don't know exactly what day in October, but it was
October 22nd.
October 22nd. Thank you, Tatiana. And Bernadette, you know, I don't think a lot of people know that there's actually an international district Healthy Communities Coalition. So this is really a great fit for the neighborhood when you think about all the things that your coalition is trying to do.
Yes, it's centered around public health, but also so many other initiatives, especially now that Healthy Here is helping us implement a lot of these changes in the community. It's been around for a while, and it's an open group. So anyone who lives in the area or anyone is invited to come share your information, share your resources, and become part of the International District Healthy Communities Coalition. We welcome everybody. We meet the fourth Thursday of every month at Wilson Middle School Library, which is right in the middle of the ID. And we have several people, even if they don't live in the community, several organizations love to network in our group. It's a really huge group, and this month will be November 30th at the Wilson Library because of the Thanksgiving holiday. So
Right.
we'll be there this month, November 30th.
But the fourth Thursday, that's great to know. And Healthy Here, it sounds like we're going to be hearing a lot more about Healthy Here. Well, tell me, what were some of your favorite things that came out of this event?
I mean, there were so many things. I think when we first started organizing it, we had a whole visioning process that we did as a group. Presbyterian Center for Community Health was a part of it, IDHCC, Mid-Region Council of Governments, and several other organizations and some community residents. And we had a whole visioning process where we really talked about, like, what do we want to hear, what do we want to feel, and what do we want people to actually see when they go. And our first goal was we want kids running around. We want to hear laughter.
Nice.
We want to feel like we're really like seeing our neighbors, that we're a part of this community, that we can meet other neighbors, that we can definitely share the street, that kind of thing.
Well, it sounds like that was accomplished for
Yeah.
sure.
So I think that was one of the biggest things for us after the event happened, was that all those things that we said at that initial visioning process, that we created drawings and we had this whole activity, we saw it. We had so many children out and about. They were playing, they were laughing, they were running, they were riding their bikes. We had a lot of different activities happening. We had a pop-up playground that happened, and
Wow.
that was a huge hit. The kids loved it. We had a bike rodeo offering information about bike safety, and I think kids loved it. They kept on riding it back and forth.
Sounds like this event might stay in the International District, or at least go back there for 2018. I would think. That's a good fit. So what was, and the way I understand it, like, this was also a great opportunity for demonstration projects, and tell us a little bit more about that.
That's a great question. So I mentioned before, we're often very auto-oriented and having to drive from point A to point B. And it didn't always used to be that way. People used to walk. Streets were social. There were places to do business, to meet your neighbor, to go buy groceries. So because cars are not allowed on the route, it offers an opportunity to create a nice contained demonstration. So we did a pop-up protected bike lane, which is a bike lane that has a buffer, and then usually there's a vertical barrier, and we used plungers with PVC pipe and reflective tape. So
great.
just to give people an idea of what is possible in our built environments. There are also street art, so safety murals. That's another way to calm traffic. So kids were able to paint and draw on the street and just
Wow.
create art.
It sounds very like infotainment. You know, like I said, you're getting educated without even realizing it because you're having so much fun. How many people attended this event?
We had over 1,196 people.
Wow, that's
Great.
That's incredible. That's a testament to the neighborhood too, to the International District, that if you put something out there like this,
Yeah.
people are going to partake in it.
And I think one of the things that, as Presbyterian Center for Community Health, we really had been partnering, like we do health needs assessments in the community every 3 years. And it's part of our, charitable purpose, but also our commitment to the communities that we serve. And we go through different counties talking to communities about these health priorities. And active living, healthy eating, and connecting clinics to, providers to the community was huge. And I think Ciqlovia was such a perfect fit because it's a way to kind of get out of the usual idea of health being centered inside a clinic.
Right.
And, I think we always talk about the fact that, we all want to be healthy, everybody wants to be healthy, communities want to be healthy, but if the right supports aren't in place, then there's no access to it. And I think that was one of the things when it came to hosting something like Ciqlovia. You can't say that folks are not interested in being healthy and being outside if really there are no supports available
Right.
for that. Like if somebody feels like their street is too unsafe, it's too dark, then they're not going to go walk
Sure.
outside. If they don't have access to, they don't have the money to buy organic produce because it's more expensive, they're going to access what they're actually able to do. So I think that was a huge part of marrying the idea of the planning aspect of it and the streets aspect of it with health, because it's more than just a provider telling somebody go and exercise, right?
You need to get out and walk for 20 minutes,
Exactly.
or whatever.
But
yeah.
if their street doesn't have a protected bike lane, if their sidewalks are uneven,
Right.
if there's no access for people on wheelchairs, then how are you expecting communities to be able to actually be healthy if the choice is not there? It doesn't exist.
Exactly.
And I think that was one of the powerful things about sort of moving it from the place that was kind of the area that was used to, right, into a community, because we know there are challenges, but
Sure.
but really focusing on what could be, I think was definitely fun and great.
I think that's neat that Ciqlovia did that elevated the profile of the neighborhood for the people who live there. It's a little bit like preaching to the choir, but exactly, why not? A lot of times we do things because that's the way we've always done things. Until you start to show people how they can do something differently, they may not have that idea. So I love the idea that you mentioned how it's out of a clinical environment, but also showing the neighborhood that they have these opportunities right around them to be healthy and enjoy, walking or biking or what have you. No, I think that's great. And I think in the past, because it was downtown's more of an area where you would tend to think people might walk anyway, but you're right, in a community, we're so vehicle dependent, I guess is what good way to put it, that this was a great event to show people how they really, have alternatives and have choices. So let me ask you this, when and where will the event be next year? Do we have we picked out is it going to be back in that neighborhood in the International District?
So we got really positive feedback. I think
Sounds like it,
it was definitely a trial. It was definitely like a pilot kind of thing. We were, we knew that it was different. We knew that, there might be people that might not be on board because it was different. And we succeeded in what we wanted. We really wanted this welcoming, fun-friendly, family-friendly event, and we had it. So we definitely are already gearing up to have the second one in the International District.
Great, that's good. I mean, what a success for the first time out, too. I mean, if this is any indication, you had almost 1,200 people, probably have maybe double that next year, or at least as many as you did this year. Where can people find out more information if they want to like get involved or volunteer for next year's event? Is there a
I mean, right now the Facebook page is
Okay,
the most
perfect.
updated.
Seems
place
like the
for
most likely
information.
place to go, yeah.
Exactly. So it's facebook.com/ABQ Ciqlovia. And that's where we have our updates, our call for volunteers, that kind of thing. And also, if you get involved with the International District Healthy Communities Coalition,
There you go.
that is a standing item that they work on all year round. So if you go to those meetings, you're able to participate and not just join in Ciqlovia, but also in the other activities happening in the community.
A lot of cross-pollination going on with the Mid-Region Council of Governments, the IDHCC, Presbyterian Community Health. I mean, it seems like this is that's kind of the way to go. You cover all your bases. So, well, thank you, ladies. Is there anything I'm leaving out that we might want to talk about? Let me just ask you this one more time, because I think people get confused about what Ciqlovia. I like your description at the beginning of our talk when you were saying that this isn't, I was thinking this is just like we named this event, but this is actually something that happens around the
Around
world.
the
right?
world, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's hundreds of these events around the world. They started in Colombia, like I mentioned, in Bogota, but New York City has one, Tucson, Los Angeles. All three of those cities have recurring events, so it's more than once a year. But
great.
there's a lot of manpower, as you can imagine, with this huge collaborative effort. So ours is annually for now.
That's awesome. I'm so glad we have a Ciqlovia here in Albuquerque. That's great. And for everybody who wants to have more information, visit their Facebook page, get involved, and get ready for next year's event, which is going to be in October again in the International District.